Yes, that's the reason, Jodie. That's definitely the reason you failed, or why no one liked you, is because you didn't fit a specific mold. Not because your personality was more bland than a bowl of freaking cornflakes, but no, because you didn't fit a specific mold. So Jodie Whittaker complains she didn't fit a specific mold for Doctor Who fans, explaining her run's failure. Not the that she was con- just completely unlikable. The fact that she didn't have any real personality of her own. She just kind of flip flopped between David Tennant and Matt Smith. And when she did have her own some kind of semblance of a personality, it was just this. What? 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 Or, frowny Karen face. This her incarnation of the Doctor whipped out the freaking sonic screwdriver more than I've seen anyone else. Like everything. Oh, gotta open a door. Sonic screwdriver. Oh, let me just. I'm gonna read this person's mind with the sonic screwdriver. It's just like everything. It became a one-stop shop for everything this person needed. And the other doctors were clever enough to figure things out on their own and barely whipped out their sonics. Her, it's just they just whip it out for everything. The story was bad. Her character was bad. But sure, it failed because you didn't fit a certain mold. The media is talking about Jodie Whittaker today, who gave an interview reminiscing about her Doctor Who run, lamenting that fans didn't accept her because, as she said, I didn't fit the mold for Doctor Who. Doctor Who has been in ratings trouble ever since Jodie Whittaker came on board as the board came on board the show with Chris Chinballs running. She posted some of the lowest rating. Yeah, they were bad. It was bad. Uh, lowest rating numbers as the Doctor, only usurped by Ncuti Gatwa. When Ncuti Gatwa came on board, as with the new gay black Disney iteration of the show that turned off even more fans. The concepts have died on the vine because both actors were cast for their identities. Modern writers want desperately to have a first, and to have some kind of groundbreaking thing for minorities and women, focusing on that rather than producing a show that honors the legacy 60 years worth of the properties they get hired upon. Jodie Whittaker was the early beneficiary of what became known as wokeism, cast as the role of the Doctor, specifically because Chinballs wanted to have the first female Doctor, as if playing a singular character is somehow an achievement for a woman. The concept is absurd, and the Doctor is a very masculine, problem solving character by nature. It didn't fit well with a female lead, and the writer struggled as a result. Again, she didn't have any personality. She just kind of flip flopped between David Tennant and Matt Smith. Matt Smith like, oh, her hands are waving all around and, very awkward. And, the very kind of like almost kind of like cool, casual sort of David Tennant. And then when she did have her personality of her own, like I said, it was just like that, like, it was the face that she always made. What? Or the frowny face that she did. She had no real personality of her own. As often done with with a failed attempt at diversity casting, Whittaker blames the fans for the lack of reception in a recent interview with the Times, with the Games. Oh, it was really a noisy few people. Rage is always really loud. Compliments are much quieter. Yes, it was a few noisy people. That's why your ratings were the lowest that they've ever been in Doctor Who's history, because of a few. No, if your ratings were that low, it was the majority. Anyone who liked her, great. I'm glad you liked her, but the ratings, the numbers don't lie. No one seemed to want to tune in to watch Jodie Whittaker as the first strong, empowered female doctor because the stories were terrible. I mean, Rosa Parks, that episode had the potential to be great. And you know what they did with it? A space racist. Someone who broke out of space prison just to kill Rosa Parks. And of course, it was a white dude. Wow, great storytelling. You could have had some evil freaking creature kill her because of the impact she would have had on history. But no, it was a space racist. Like, what kind of fucking writing is that? But also, that show doesn't have a comparison. It's part of all of our vocabularies. The TARDIS, Daleks, exterminate. I wish the freaking Daleks exterminated the damn show. And everyone's doctor until then it was a white man. They are very different actors, but they all fit a specific mold. Yeah, they were good. They could act. Like Peter Capaldi was the last real doctor, and he was not only able to portray every doctor before him, but he had his own personality. It was incredible. That man is, because he was a true fan. You know, he loved the show since it came out, like since he was a kid. And so his love for Doctor Who is genuine, and he was able to portray, you know, from Colin Baker to William Hartnell to, you know, sometimes even with the new ones like David Tennant, he was able to portray all these doctors because he knew them, he loved them. You know, her doctor was completely unrelatable. You know, like all the other doctors, you know, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith. Even the short time that, you know, John Hurt was the doctor, you know, in the 50th anniversary special, he brought such charm to the doctor. You know, this is a war doctor, the one who's pretty much responsible for destroying Gallifrey, but he had such charm to him because, I mean, John Hurt, amazing actor, but you could feel the pain and his sadness and his despair about what he had to do. This chick, you never related to her. You could never feel like, oh wow, this is the doctor, and you never felt that. You never felt that with her. She then played victim, saying if Peter Capaldi hadn't been good as the doctor, it would have only reflected on him. Whereas well, because he's such a good actor, he was given terrible stuff to work with. Like his final run as a doctor was terrible. Which, by the way, did you know Bill Potts was gay? Just throwing that in though, out there for you guys. But he had terrible scripts to work with, and yet he brought just as much as charisma and just as much charm as he always did. And that's why it was more tolerable. Hers, from start to finish, it was like making a kid eat their vegetables and saying, "Oh, we'll put some cheese on it," and it's still not tolerable. It's still freaking gross, you know. And the kids are still like, "Oh God, it still tastes," you know. So no, the comparison between no, Peter Capaldi, given what he had to work with, was still amazing. Again, did you know Bill Potts was gay? I know. The show never went out of its way to tell us. We had to pretty much guess that Bill Potts was gay. Whereas I felt that if I wasn't very good at this, I fucked it up for other actors. I think it's completely unacceptable if that was the case, but that's how I felt. No one can hide behind a nasty tweet because I'll never read it. I'm sure people wrote, "I hate your doctor because I got la la la." I've got such a false sense of who I am. Did you ever try just being a good doctor? Be the good doctor. I am a doctor. Did you ever just like try being a good doctor, like not David Tennant or Matt Smith kind of personality, but having your own personality? because that's what you lacked. You lacked any kind of acting ability as the Doctor. I don't know about her in other roles, but as the Doctor, no, she was not the Doctor. She was not the Doctor at all. And I've brought it up so many times that her Doctor was just not the Doctor. There's so many times, and I bring it up every single time because this was the defining moment for people. The moment people saw this and they said, "This is not the Doctor," was with Graham. And I showed it the last time I talked about the show. And I'm not going to do it again, but you know when Graham's talking to her about him being afraid of his cancer coming back, and she's like, "Oh, I'm socially awkward. So I'm just going to walk over here and flip some levers and think about something I could have said." That's not what the Doctor is. That's not what the Doctor would do. That's not what the Doctor is about. And then I showed the clip of Peter Capaldi's Doctor, who was socially awkward, who was a grumpy Doctor, who still had compassion towards someone who betrayed him. Saying, you know, "Do you think I care for you so little that you betraying me would make a difference?" It seems a new normal for diversity hires playing the Doctor Who to cry foul as the fans when speaking with interviewers. Rudy Gatwell is already infamous for telling off fans before his first season even aired, saying, "Don't watch, turn off the TV, go out, touch grass, please." And then, guess what? The show's views, they're going down. Why? Because people are touching grass. Not only are they touching grass, but they're recording themselves and taking pictures of themselves touching grass. I mean, who does this dude think that watching their show? Like, you think normal people are watching Doctor Who? No, it's the fans. So when you tell the fans, like, "Oh, fuck off, go touch grass," you're basically saying we don't want anyone to watch the show. And then it's like, "Oh, why are the views so bad?" Well, because you told everyone to fuck off and go touch grass. So now they're outside having a good time while your show is in freaking decline because nobody wants to watch it. But sure, keep telling off the fans. The ones who are making those numbers, you know, they're the ones who determine whether you get high views or low views. When you tell them to fuck off, not only are you going to piss off those fans, but you're going to piss off the ones who would be generally moderate. And they'll be like, "Wait, why? Did he just say that? You know what? No, I'm not going to support this guy either." And then they're going to go touch grass. And then suddenly you have only the people sticking around like, "Oh my God. Oh my God, he is the best Doctor ever. He is so stunning and brave. He's the first Black Doctor, the first openly gay Black Doctor. And I don't care if the show's bad, but representation." You're going to have those people sticking around. That's not enough to get your viewership up, though. It's interesting that this interview is coming so soon after it's been rumored that Gatwa is going to be off the show after the second season because of the backlash against woke. Fans took his advice, which they started with Whittaker. In some ways, it's not the fact the actor's fault they are casting these roles. It's the showrunners who are actively seeking out. No, I mean, it's if she was truly a great actor, she could have taken a bad script and made it good. Like I said with Peter Capaldi, he did the same thing. Was it great? No, but he made it more tolerable just because of how lovable he was. Jodie Whittaker she was insufferable. She constantly having to put the men in their place, constantly whining about how hard it is to be a woman, whipping out her sonic screwdriver for anything, not having any real personality of her own. If she was a truly great actor, she could have taken a crappy script and worked with it and said, "You know what? I know this isn't much to work with, but I'm going to do my best." But it's like she half-assed it. Graham, ironically enough, was the saving grace of the show. The straight white male was the saving grace of the show because he brought that charisma. He brought the humor. He brought what needed to be brought to the show. And every time he was on screen, he stole that scene because he was such a good actor. You know, Ryan, he's like one-dimensional. Yaz was one-dimensional. The Doctor was should be multi-dimensional, but no. Graham was the only thing of that show, of that run, that was worth it, because he had more character and more character development than really any of them. You know, the overcoming the grief of losing his wife, the whole cancer thing, trying to connect with Ryan. You know, he had more than anyone. And he was really the saving grace, which is funny because his wife's name was Grace. Um, but that the showrunners and all that, that's no excuse. If you're truly a great actor, you can take a crappy script and work with it and make it, you know, more tolerable. But she can't do that. Um, Characters like Doctor Who, but play victim when they get millions to work on the series against fans, which is beyond absurd. I think Jodie Whittaker just needs to shut up. I mean, you know, if you're a if you're playing a doctor and you're actively kind of going out and, you know, belittling the viewers and the fans, no, that's not how this works. You don't get to belittle fans and, you know, this and that, and then expect people to watch your crappy fucking show. You can't say go touch grass and then be surprised when the viewership it goes down. And then people are like tweeting you of them being outside touching grass. Like, oh, well, how did this happen? Well, maybe because you told people to touch grass. Maybe because you told the people who are the ones generally viewing your show, maybe you just pushed them away. And then again, the moderate ones who would normally kind of like, you know, I'm going to watch it. They look at that and how you treat the viewers and the fans, and they're like, you know what? I'm not going to support a person who does that. So I'm out too. So again, the only people you have left are the ones who are like, oh, I don't care if it's a bad story. I don't care. As long as it has diversity, representation, and inclusion, and I can see myself. I don't care if the story's bad. It's only gonna be those people. And Jodie Whittaker is one of those doctors like, oh, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Oh, it's the show failed. It's because, oh, well, I didn't fit a specific mold. Or maybe you just sucked, Jodie. Maybe you just sucked. Maybe your doctor was horrible, and it wasn't just because of the showrunners. You brought no charisma, no real talent to that role. You could be the greatest actress in the world, but you brought none of that to the doctor at all. And trying to watch every episode was just mental torture because of just how unlikable you were. And then that moment with Graham, that just sealed the fate of the Doctor and just let everyone know that this is not Doctor Who. This is not the Doctor. This is an inconsiderate fucking prick who, instead of comforting one of her companions who is truly terrified about his cancer coming back, instead uses the "I'm socially awkward," when Matt Smith's Doctor was the king of socially awkward. Peter Capaldi's was socially awkward. That's the point of the Doctor. He's not human. He's going to be socially awkward, and yet he can still connect with human beings in times of them coming to him in need and looking for advice. You, Jodie, however, couldn't freaking do that, could you? So maybe it's not because you didn't fit a certain mold. It's because you're a terrible fucking doctor. One of the worst, if not the worst, because at least it looks like what's his face brings some kind of charisma and charm to it, even though he doesn't act like the Doctor either, because they're trying to pull in a new crowd, because they're pushing away all the people who actually care about the show. So congratulations, going down in history as one in the 60 years of the show being the most hated Doctor. So don't be surprised when you're not invited back to any of the anniversary specials. But anyway, that's gonna do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.